Hello, this is wmpyr back again with Mr. Pedro.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, we're here to talk about kind of like behind the scene footage type stuff, right? Not footage, but just talk about what happened behind the scenes when you came over. So this was the second time you came over to my place.
hmm
This time you brought your video camera and tripod, so you filmed some stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, we basically we started in this room, right where I'm talking right here with the mat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
We started here, and then we moved out to the garage, right? to
Oh yeah.
when we needed more space. But the idea here, one of the things is you wanted to do some more traditional drills,
hmm
Filipino martial arts drills, and then the other thing, we wanted to do groundwork also.
hmm
And then when we went back out there in the garage, it was for when we needed more space and to do a little bit more sparring type stuff, which we promised we were going to make it a little bit more realistic than last time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So okay, where should we start? The first thing, do you want to start with the drills that you wanted to maybe shed some light on what you were trying to do there?
Yeah. So with the Hubud one, that's a fundamental drill that no matter what FMA style you do, you're gonna come across it. And so it's always fun to work. I like working a lot of like the close range Hubud trapping
Mm-hmm.
type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to make a video to kind of share that with people. Uh, how to do the hubud, how to do a transition, and just help people build up their skill in that.
Right.
Um, yeah, hubud. A lot of people that I show it to that aren't familiar with FMA always have a trouble with it.
Yes.
Um, but once you get it down, it's pretty useful little tool for the development of your skills and a good warm up drill too.
Mm-hmm. Now, for me, it's almost embarrassing to say, but I got nothing to hide. I was thrown off, and you remember, for me, I had a really hard time with it. And yes, it's definitely I had experienced, and I don't know. Hopefully, you could tell that I had experienced
Oh,
different
absolutely,
different
absolutely.
versions of it. But the one we were trying to do was it was actually a little bit different. That after the salute, I wanted to keep grabbing with the same salute hand, but what you were showing was to go ahead and um, check with the opposite hand and then go into a punch. So yeah, that was throwing me off big time, and especially on the left side, right?
Oh, dude, the left side is everybody's favorite side.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, left side always sucks.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I mean, but what's interesting is that for you, you wanted to go straight into the combat. Like that's the point of that. The salute you can grab from there and just boom, well on the guy. What I was showing is just the basic pattern to learn it.
Right.
Right, parry, salute, trap against the body.
Yes. Yes.
But when you learn it already and you already know it, you kind of just want to go into the application, which you end up doing anyways when you do hubud. Because hubud, you don't stay there and do that forever. Eventually, you use hubud to as a sort of format to going into like maybe a lock flow drill.
I call it a generator.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, to lock flows or even just into straight, parry punch and then go through the motion to defeat the other guy,
Right.
or like how you were doing, parry, salute, trap, and boom, go into it.
You're definitely being super nice, too nice. It should be. I should still be able to do it, no problem. But I found myself that I had moved away from it so much that it almost felt alien in a sense. But I was like, dude, if and I do teach similar stuff, so I was like, man, I should be able to handle this, and so it was kind of frustrating for me. And I apologize. I wish I could have done better, so that you could have filmed more. But yeah, it
No,
is what it is.
we got what I needed in terms of filming, and look, you just haven't done it in a minute. That's all. You know what I mean? Like dude, you're still very good. Uh,
And so the next one maybe we can go into is let me skip the knife sparring for a moment and let me go into breaking the pattern. So that was kind of it. We were trying to also go with another pattern, but this time with sticks. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's different names for it. What did you call it?
5-count sombrada.
Okay, the sombrada. Is it also called carenza sometimes?
I'm not too sure.
Okay. Okay, depending, yeah, I think I've seen similar. Maybe the terminology changes so much. What somebody calls this, another style might be totally different, within the Filipino system. So anyway, so we were doing a sombrada, and my version was a little bit different from your version, and yours included what I called the umbrella. So you went from umbrella, and then it was a vertical strike, I remember, and those were the two that I was missing.
Mm.
Yeah, so the umbrella to the vertical strike, and from the vertical you go into what I call the roof, and then from there it was pretty much ours was the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's also kind of how would you compare that to the hubad?
So the 5-count sombrada, as I've always learned it, is either sword or stick drill. Mm-hmm. The hubad you could do empty with a knife or with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen people doing I think I've even seen people doing with 2 sticks type hubad type stuff, going from right to left. The 5-count, it's almost like a cinco teros type drill. The 5-count is just 5 hits in an arranged pattern.
Yes. To
where you're learning block, counter attack, and move.
Right.
And that's all it is, But again, that's one of those drills that you find in a lot of systems.
I feel like in a hubad you could be, because you're a lot more closer. A lot of times you're just standing square, right? You don't have to be, but a lot of times you are. Whereas with what we did with the 5-count sombrada, now we're talking about more like it's more dynamic, and the sword motion. So now the angling of the body becomes a little bit more important, and you can see when people who have done that kind of training, they have the angling in their footwork, in their body motions. And the guys that haven't done it as much, you can tell that they don't have they're just swinging the stick,
Yeah. And so we broke the pattern. We're just kind of randomly feeding, seeing just kind of what comes out. And
how much did that throw you off? I'm sorry to interrupt there, but yeah, how much did that throw you off when we broke the pattern there?
Some at first, because I haven't done it in a minute. So I found myself trying to stay in a medium to close range, where I would block a strike but bring my other hand to check.
Yes.
But when I saw it again, I should have probably used more of a long range.
Okay.
Thing, which is one thing I've been working on, using more contradas. I think, at times trying to use abanicos.
Right.
Bannings.
Yes.
So I should have done more of that, okay. I think.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of the training I've received in is a lot of close quarters, like the 5 count sombrada, it's the second hand comes into play.
Right.
Boom, boom. But realistically, if you're fighting with machetes, you're probably going to be at a distance. so
So is that something that you're now looking at yourself going, oh, I kind of tend to automatically go for that, which there's good and bad to that. But did you see that with yourself going like, oh, I have a tendency to that, and at the right range that's good, but at the wrong range that may not be a good idea. Like,
absolutely, absolutely, and you have to. That's the good benefit of recording yourself.
yes,
and doing that you can later on review it and figure out, okay, I need to rework on my distancing, knowing my distance and what tools to use at that distance. And okay, now I'm moving close. Okay, now I need to bring this tool range in, these tools to play in.
right.
So it's always and you know that distance changes in a second,
Super fast.
super fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good thing to break the pattern, because then you're like, okay, it brings in that sort of chaos of a real fight, and forces you to think and react.
Right, and it's definitely a pleasure and an honor to be able to do that with somebody that understands and has the skills. Because, dude, we could have easily messed each other up bad. I mean, we're swinging a stick around, and we don't know what's coming, where it's coming from, or any of those things. And I mean, I remember my first instructor, modern artist, he said to me that, because I was kind of like, a stick? That's what we train with? It's just a stick. And he was like, yeah, it could pop an eye out. If you hit the guy in the head the right way, it could just pop. That frightened me.
And I tell you what, I knew a fella who, with a padded sparring stick, right? Padded. No headgear, nothing. He got hit right in the eye. I think he had a detached cornea.
Oh, no.
Or something like that, yeah.
Oh.
And that's a padded stick. I mean, you generate so much force with that sucker.
It just came off. Oh, my gosh. The lens just came off the eyeball. Oh.
It was nasty, yeah.
Dang, yeah. Oh, so yeah, it is no joke. So, I feel very fortunate, and so let's go into the knife sparring, right? So in that one, like I said, we promised to the viewers, because we kind of got requests, but I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to just go ahead and backyard brawl. So we're not gonna do that, But at the same time, why not make it a little bit more realistic? So this time, we promised each other to do that beforehand. And how did you feel about it?
I love it. Knife sparring is one of the fun things, one of the funner things for me in FMA. It's very eye-opening, because you realize you're in range to kill the guy, he's in range to kill you. A knife fight is it's pretty nasty business. The sparring is good. We wore the the shin pads for forearm guards, the gloves. I've been messing around with trying to practice going back to old Spanish fencing, la destreza. And so I didn't really implement it that well, I don't think, but I try to use the point more stabbing instead of slashing. Try to utilize more footwork, more pivots, more engaños, more feints. But sometimes I forget myself. Sometimes I'm just like, knife.
That's the point of sparring, though, right? To get to know yourself. How do you behave under pressure? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I noticed in the first round, I'm like, this is long range. Long range to me is more like fencing. So I try to do that. So I try to fake you with the hand. We both defanging the snake, of course. We're both FMA guys, so that was happening like crazy. But at the same time, I faked to your head. Even though we're not supposed to hit to the head because we didn't really have any protection there, but I still threatened the head. And at that point, I noticed this was the one where I noticed you coming in a lot more with both hands, and you gave me some chest stabs, and I was like, oh, he's playing medium to close range, and I was thinking long range, so I was like, oh wow, we're playing in different ranges there. Was that was that more automatic for you? Like you weren't necessarily thinking that, that's what just came out?
Yeah, and I think part of that has to do with a lot of the styles I trained in are medium to close range.
So it wasn't necessarily because I was doing long range, you were like, okay, let me counter that with medium range, or it was more that, that's your background?
Yeah, it's just that's my background.
Okay.
If we were to spar again,
yes,
I would try a more long range, more fencing, more destreza, because the entry is a crucial thing. Like we defang the snake and then enter.
Right.
But if you do it wrong, you're in for a world of hurt in real life.
Yes.
Possibly going to the great beyond. So if you have that range to play with, I would certainly try to more my long range techniques.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, just real quick.
Yes.
Another thing too is I've always been a guy with short reach.
Okay.
So instinctively, I'm always trying to close the distance.
I see. Yeah. So now let me jump to the last video actually here. So this was a round 2 with a knife. This time around, for me personally, I felt like, okay, I got my long range stuff in. Now let me work more closer range because, that is part of it too. I didn't want to just have long range skills. So I also want to practice closer range. So that means I got to come in. And like you're saying, if you come in, you're going to get, the chances of you getting cut up is big. So I was like, that's fine. Just try to work more in closer range. And I did that. And I think this is the round where you were actually now in, but you could see it in your stance where you're holding, the knife. Like, so now you're going long range. And I was like, damn, I missed it. So if we had both done that in the beginning, we would have been long range versus long range. But now we were doing the opposite. But, that's all right. That's all part of the, sometimes, the guy might counter your long range with a closer range, and you might counter the closer range guy with a long range. So.
Yeah, I think what happened was I remembered, hey, I want to practice more fencing type stuff, but I did it at the wrong time.
No, there's no wrong time, bro. There's no wrong time. So I just noticed that. I was just like, oh man, now he's doing, yeah. But no, so that time I was coming in on you more, and maybe you wanted to play more long range versus long range. I don't know. How did you interpret that? Because you had to notice me coming in.
Oh, yeah. I remember this one time it looked like a sewing machine.
Yeah.
Stabbed to the body. Yeah, I think just you coming in closer, I think I was like, okay, let me create distance. Because another thing, too,
yes,
I've always been more of a counter fighter. When it comes to weapons or empty hand or whatever, I've always just been a counter fighter.
Okay.
So I think that's why, like, subconsciously, when you were long, I might have tried
right. Yeah.
And mirroring,
Yeah.
However, when it comes to knife fighting, I think it's probably better to be a little bit more, have the edge on the opponent, be more first.
Mm.
because we're talking about a lethal weapon.
It's so fast.
Yeah.
It's so fast. Yeah. Yeah.
So one wrong move, it's lights out.
Right. One of the things, the games that I was trying to play with you was I noticed like we were definitely defang the snake was a big part.
Hmm.
So I noticed you feeding me your arm on purpose, and when I go to cut it, you would fan motion that, because it takes too long to try to cut something that's already coming. So you have to make a quick, like just a rotation like that. So I was also trying to do that to you, and so that was the defang the snake battle. But then faking, compared to the first time that we did this at my place, I felt like the first time we had more high and low leg attacks. This time around, we didn't really do that much leg attacks. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I didn't do it as much. You didn't do it as much this time around.
Hmm.
It was more hand and torso up.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because realistically, too, I mean, if you're slow with your kick, that's there to be cut.
Right. And dude, those leg shots we know from the stick is devastating.
Hmm.
So I don't see why you can't do that with a knife, which you can, and we did it last time. We just didn't do it this time for some reason.
Yeah.
So then the next video is the ground stuff that we did. Yeah, man. For me, you were extremely impressive because you knew all the positions, the mobility on the ground that you had, and then being able to know from every position, pretty much you have a blueprint. You have to know the offense and defense from every position. It has to already be there. Like, oh, I could get armbarred here. So you're already turning onto your hiding your arm and stuff like that,
Yeah, I think I want to go back and take up jujitsu again.
Mm.
Because I feel like my groundwork needs a lot of work. Like I feel like I saw the footage of my footage, and I feel like my shrimping could be way better, and
It'd be better. Okay.
I could use more leg flexibility, and just overall just better ground mobility. Because I feel comfortable from being in a top position, but on my back, nah, not so much. So, and that's like the worst case scenario of a street fight. You get knocked on your butt.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
I definitely want to get back into jiu-jitsu and get better at the ground fighting. In judo, unfortunately we just don't do it enough. So, go back to the jiu-jitsu and get submitted a whole bunch of times and learn.
Yeah. So that's something you're thinking about in the near future. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. You have a sumo tournament coming up. When is it?
The 19th.
The 19th. Okay. Okay. And you're gonna go up to Austin to go compete.
Oh yeah, in the heavyweights.
Oh my God. Last time you got a silver medal.
Yeah, I came in second place.
That is awesome. So this time, do you know if it's going to be kind of the same people competing? Probably, right?
So, some of the same people and a whole lot more because it's the nationals, U.S. nationals.
Nationals.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Holy crap!
So it's going to be some big old boys.
About how many people are you expecting in this tournament?
Man, maybe like 40 something competitors, 50. I mean,
what?
I honestly don't, because think about it, you got all the different weight categories.
Yeah.
You have the women as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be like almost an all day thing.
In your division, what like an 8-man tournament? Is that
That's
how
a
it
good
goes?
question.
Yeah.
Maybe 16 at most.
Dang. Dang, dude. 60. Yeah, that's UFC 2, where it was a 16-man tournament. Hoist said he never wants to do that again. That's what he said. He was.
Oh no, bro. Most people they do their weight division and then they do open weight, where it's everybody against everybody.
Right.
Brother, I'm just doing heavyweight. Last time that killed me.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, the one thing I didn't mention is the second time we sparred last time. You know, I also kind of noticed that my concentration started to fade. You know, because in the first round, you know, I was like, okay, long range, this tactic, this technique, you know, this setup. So I'm thinking constantly and always going for this. Okay. And then so by the second round, your brain's like, yeah, physically you're tired. That's a given, you know, but brain tired is is a whole different animal.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and that's when injuries can occur.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, dude, the first tournament I did, by the end of it, I felt like I was starting to cramp up, and things were, when I was walking, was like, ugh. Like on the drive home, I had to pull over like twice to take naps. That's how tired I was.
Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah. No, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. When I competed in BJJ, yeah, I almost passed out after my first match. Yeah, like I also cut weight because I didn't know better. I was told to cut weight, so I cut weight. And yeah, but anyway, my arms were like shaking and stuff. It was, yeah, I thought I was gonna pass out. That was not a good feeling.
No way. And then too, with this being nationals, man, there's gonna be a big old crowd, and that's another element to it.
Golly, man, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. This is the question that, you know, are you gonna record some of it and are you gonna put it up on your YouTube channel?
Yes. So I'm gonna take my camera, the tripod.
Yes.
And I think we might have an extra fellow with us from our club, and I'm gonna hand over the camera to him and have him record some of the matches.
Awesome, awesome. So, by the way, if you guys don't know, Mr. Pedro is starting his YouTube channel, and so it's gonna be loaded with stuff like this, and he's working on expanding it as we speak. So I will put the links below. So please check them out.
Absolutely, Tizona Escrima Combatives.
Yes, yes. So please look him up. Like I said, I'll have links there, and yeah, he's already put up. There's 3 videos right now, right?
Yeah.
And all 3 are instructionals. Mr. Pedro is a very talented martial arts guy, but you know what? I'm finding maybe even teaching wise, you might be even more talented. Holy crap! Your detail, your patience, your ability to convey the info and stuff like that is amazing.
Trying, man, learning little by little.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So please show him the love and support that you guys have shown me. And this is a good place to stop it. We're almost at 30 minutes here. So thank you, Mr. Pedro, for joining me.
Thank you, brother. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. wmpyr over and out.
Peace.